Hello and welcome to Managing Discipline in TAC. From your TAC home screen, we're going to first talk about classroom issues you're going to deal with in your classroom by yourself without making a referral. To enter a classroom issue from your home screen, you can use the exclamation point icons on the far right. Notice that when you click one of the exclamation points, you'll open up the interface for a classroom issue. And the students you'll have to choose from are the students on that roster. So this is literally the class roster, and you can just pick and choose all or any of your students in that class for the icon that you clicked. Once you select the student involved, you can see the type of issue. Use the drop down to select whatever the issue is. Notice that if it's a 200 or more level issue, those are automatically referred to your disciplinarian. So classroom issues are going to be 100 level offenses. Please interact with all the choices here, so pick a location of the offense. Let's see, you have many options for a location. Type some disposition of what actually happened, what the issue was. Type whatever is needed. More detail is better, actually. And then you take your teacher action. Now, I'm not actually going to save this because I don't want to get an actual kid in trouble. You can see under teacher actions, you could have the date you filled this out. Use the calendar interface there. The date of whatever action you started or ended. Most importantly, the actual action you took. So you can see various things here. You can have detention or whatever it happens to be, whatever you did to resolve the issue as a classroom issue. And then go ahead and save that. Now in this particular case, I am not going to save it because I'm not going to write a kid up for something. So I'm going to cancel here. But if you go to navigate away in eSchool Plus, if you navigate away from an incomplete action, it will give you a little reminder as I go to classroom referrals now. So I try to go to referrals, it's going to say, hey, you haven't saved this from before. Now, typically you're going to want to save it, but in this case, I'm going to say, that's okay. I don't want to save that. And now I'm into the classroom referrals interface. Classroom referrals are issues that are beyond your classroom. So you're sending this to your school's disciplinarian, principal, whoever handles discipline in your building. The key difference here is that once I select, again, I'm not going to select 200 level things. This is a 100 level offense in whatever location. But the difference here is that you're asking someone in your building to look at this for you after sometimes repeated measures of the same thing, repeated offenses, whatever it happens to be. So you're making this a referral. The big difference here is classroom issues work off the roster that you have selected. Conduct referrals do not. So watch, when I go to add a student here, you notice I don't have a roster to select from. I have a wide open filters here. So if I look for the last name of Jones, and that's the only filter I use, and I search, I'm going to get every Jones ever. And it doesn't matter if they attended your school or not. It doesn't matter if they're active or not. See, I have hundreds of choices here. graduated students, inactive students, every Jones ever, you can send as a referral. So things I think the practical use of that is, think of something happening at a sporting event where it's not your school, it's two other schools. Well, you could write a kid up who doesn't belong to your school, who's not on your roster, right? So the more correct way to add a student certainly is to have better filters. So if I knew a student ID, that would be ideal, or at least let's filter down to something a little more narrow. For example, if I know it's a student from your building, in this case I'm going to select Carrick as the building, and I know the grade level, and I still select Jones, at least I'll get some more likely suspects, more or less, right? And I can see inactive, so I'm down between, it would have been those two kids. Had I known that information to be true. Now, this is all made up. That's not true. These kids are not getting a referral for anything. It's just showing you the filter works, but district-wide filtering. So be very careful when you're using a conduct referral, because you can write up the wrong student. It's happened many, many times. We've had that happen where the names are similar enough, but you're picking, it could be the kid's uncle that you're picking because it's a similar name. So once you write up a student, though, from your conduct referral screen, this icon here in the upper right is a list, your conduct referral list, which shows you your receipts basically from referrals you made. So if I go ahead and click that, if I'm not writing the student up at this time, I'm just looking at my list, you'll see something like this. So you'll see referrals that you have made, right? And on this screen, you can also see, well, dates and what it was, but also see, look under the status column, what happened. Incident created is the principal or disciplinarian in your building promoted that referral to something else, maybe a suspension or whatever else they did. And then the actions taken said multiple, so they did multiple things with the kid. This is what your administrator can see. They have the choice of 3 choices. When you make a referral, they have 3 choices. They can create the incident, which is very common, like a suspension. They could resolve it themselves, which is they'll take care of it and do something with the student, or they can return it to you. Now, if they return it, they choose T return, you'll get it back in gradebook, in TAC. You'll have the opportunity to fix whatever, for whatever reason it was returned, right? So that's their options as the disciplinarian. And what you'll see is this. Let's say if a referral was returned to you, you'll see this view, which is that same screen, a conduct referral list, but one of them will be blue. And you can see that it's not really a link. It doesn't look like it's a link, but it works like a link. If you double click on the blue wording, you can see returned is highlighted there. If you double click on the blue wording, it'll open up the referral, and you'll be able to interact with it and make whatever changes were requested. So I'm looking at it here, and there's what you wrote, right? But you see under the gold box, wrong code. So your principal said, no, that's the wrong code for whatever you referred. And you also notice that everything you can interact with is editable. So you can make the changes and save it and then return it back to your principal for disciplinary action. Hope you find that video helpful. Have a great day.